Okay. Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to this session on interaction session 1 for the course Construction Methods and Equipment Management. So I hope all the learners, you would have gone through the videos of the lectures which are already uploaded for the past 4 weeks. So as a part of this session, first I would like to summarize the important points on the past 4 weeks lectures. Okay, so after that we will to move on to the interaction session where I will try to answer the queries posted in the portal as well as in the Google form link, whichever was shared with you. Okay, so I hope everyone knows the importance of learning this course, construction methods and equipment management. So in this the course, you are able to have a better exposure on how to estimate the cost of the equipment and the productivity of the equipment. Okay, because that is very important to make a selection of the equipment. So by learning this course, you will gain some knowledge on how to estimate the cost and the productivity associated with the equipment. And as you know very well that cost estimation of the equipment is very important because when you go for your bidding, your cost of equipment is also the part of the total cost. So if you're going to underestimate the cost of equipment, maybe you may overestimate the profit and you will end up in problem. That's why we should have some proper knowledge on how to estimate the cost of the equipment. Okay, so with this importance, let us move on to the important points which we discussed in the first 4 weeks of this session. So in the first week, we discussed about the factors which governs the equipment selection. Okay, so important factor I can say is we have to select the equipment which meets the contract specifications. Okay, so that is the most important guideline. So whatever is given in your contract specifications, okay, accordingly you have to select the equipment, and it should be able to meet the actual schedule of your project, okay, at lowest possible cost. Okay, say for example, if you're having different options, nowadays we have different options available for the same activity. Okay, different options of equipment. In that, how to make the choice, we have discussed that already. So we have to compare the economics of the different equipment, and we have to see which one gives you the lowest unit cost of production. Okay, so the lowest unit cost of production you can derive from the equipment cost and the equipment productivity. Okay, so then whichever machine gives you the lowest unit cost, you can make the selection. So apart from that, obviously you have to look into the project site constraints also. What is the underfoot condition? What is the space available for the equipment at the site? All those constraints also need to be taken into account while you make the selection of the equipment. Okay, so in the next module, again, once again, yeah. So in the next module, so as we know, the cost of equipment is important. Okay, we worked on various examples on how to estimate the various components of the cost, like the ownership cost and the operating cost. So I hope you know what are all the components of ownership cost, right from your initial cost, your cost associated with the investment, and your tax, insurance, storage cost, all those things comes under the ownership cost. Okay. Now coming into the operating cost, you can see that the cost of fuel, cost of the filters, lubricating oils, maintenance and repair, all these things comes into the operating cost, which is highly a variable one. Okay, so as I told you in the lecture also, so your past experience records, okay, you can use it for assuming the values of this cost. Say for example, you need to know the hourly fuel consumption. Okay, so you can to look into your past experience records for this particular operating condition, for this particular equipment, what is the expected hourly fuel consumption. You can take it from your past experience. Otherwise, you have to go for the equipment handbook, equipment manufacturer guidelines. Okay, so whatever theoretical values you're going to take from the literature, finally you have to adjust it according to your project condition. Okay, so this we have discussed already in detail. Okay, so we discussed about different methods, approximate method, your average annual investment method, and we also discussed about the time value method. Okay, So in the time value method, we saw how to consider the appropriate compounding factors and compare the cash flows which are occurring at different time period. Okay, so we worked out examples on how to use various compounding factors in the equipment economics. Okay, so the caterpillar method and purifier method, all these things we have discussed in detail. Okay, next important decision which you need to make is when to replace the machine. Okay, so as we know that just because your equipment is playing its role in your project site, we cannot just cling on to the same old equipment, because there may be several options available in the market with better productivity and the lowest operating cost and maintenance cost. Okay, so we should find which is the optimum replacement time to replace your old machine with a new machine. Old machine, we call it as Defender, and the new machine, we call it as a Challenger. Okay, so we have discussed different techniques, approaches to do the replacement analysis. Okay, like minimum cost method, maximum profit method. Basically, in all these methods, what we determine is the economic life of the machine. Okay, so economic life is the optimum time period, okay, at which your average annual cost associated with the machine will be minimum. Okay, if you go for minimum cost approach. If you're going for maximum profit approach, economic life is the time period at which your average annual profit will be maximum. That is the optimum replacement time. Okay, so we have worked out all these examples in the lecture. Coming to week 4. Week 4, before we move on to the earth moving machines, I have introduced you the various fundamental terms related to the earth moving operations. Like say, what is required power, available power, okay, how to estimate the power needed for a machine to overcome all the resistances at your project site, like a rolling resistance, grade resistance, all these things it need to overcome and it has to move. So what is the required power for the machine? How to estimate that? All those things we have discussed. Okay, and I have discussed with you how to use a machine performance chart. Like say for example, for a given project condition, how to find what is the speed the machine can offer you. Okay, so that you can derive from the machine performance chart. Okay, then coming to the earth moving machines, there is a last part of your week 4, bulldozers and scrapers. Obviously, we have compared the economic haul distance of these machines. For bulldozer, it is 100 meter, and scraper it can go even up to 1000 meters. Okay, so I have explained to you how to determine the production cycle time. Okay, for each machine. Okay, so how to determine the fixed part of the production cycle, and how to determine the variable part of the production cycle. Okay, and how to estimate the productivity of these machines. Okay, we have discussed in detail. So particularly for the bulldozers, we have discussed about the various type of bulldozer blade movement, and what are the productive dosing methods like slot dosing, blade to blade dosing. All these things we have discussed. And for the scrapers, okay, so we have particularly for the scrapers, we have discussed an important point on how to balance the interdependent machines, like how to derive the number of scrapers which will be served by a pusher for the pusher loader scrapers. Okay, so how to derive the balance number, how to round the balance number to the lowest integer or to the highest integer. We compare the economics of both the cases, and we derive the optimum number of the scrapers and pushers. Okay, so all these things we have discussed in detail. So if you have any queries related to these topics, so you are free to post it in this the session. Okay, so apart from this, we shall be also discussing the queries which you have already posted in the portal. Okay, so some are really interesting queries and some are basic. I will try to address both. Okay, so one learner has posted this query: can you clarify the salvage value? Okay, obviously the salvage value is nothing but the estimated value of any asset or equipment, okay, at the end of its useful life. Okay, but you know that salvage value is a little bit tricky. It's not easy to predict the salvage value, because it depends upon how we are using your equipment, what type of project conditions, working conditions the equipment is subjected to, what will be the market condition for the equipment. So all these things are going to affect your salvage value and the useful life of the machine. So these are not easy to assume, and it is not easy to assume accurately. We can just make some approximate estimation of the salvage value. Okay, there are some guidelines available. We will discuss in the upcoming slides. Okay, and the second question is, should we take into account the fuel cost while calculating the ownership cost? So it's very clear that you're not supposed to consider the fuel cost under ownership cost. You have to take it under the operating cost of the machine. Okay. So, and another important thing, as I told you, the hourly fuel consumption data you can derive from your past experience records or from the literature or from the equipment handbook given by the manufacturer. Okay. So whatever value you derive, you can adjust it according to your project operating conditions. Okay. How to adjust it, we have discussed in the lecture. It is available in the video. Okay, you can go through. And another question is a direct question. It was posted by one learner. What are the factors which governs the equipment selection? Okay, as I discussed in the beginning of this session, the important factor is your contract specifications. Okay, so whatever equipment you're selecting, it should meet the contract specifications. Say it nowadays in the contract specifications, everything is clearly mentioned. The technique, equipment, everything is almost mentioned. Say, for example, concrete, it has to be placed by pumping method. Okay, that will be clearly mentioned. Okay, so accordingly, you have to make the selection of your equipment. Okay, and you have to look into the project time schedule. Whatever equipment you select, it has to meet the schedule within the stipulated time. Okay, at the lowest possible cost possible. All these factors, it is available in the slide already in the portal. Okay, you can go through. Then another question posted is, initial cost is easy to find, but the tire cost and salvage value are difficult. So kindly share the formula for the salvage and tire cost. Okay, tire cost also, you can get it from the manufacturer. Okay, they will provide you the tire cost data. To find the hourly tire cost, you have to divide it by estimated tire life in hours. Okay, cost of tires divided by estimated tire life in hours will give you the hourly tire cost. How to find this estimated tire life? You can get it from the equipment handbook. Okay, so for different operating conditions, for different equipment, what is the estimated tire life? You can get it from there. Okay, and obviously you can see the tire life will vary depending upon the machine. The machine which is highly mobile, which will have lesser tire life. Similarly, which is put in very unfavorable working condition, rough conditions, it will have lesser tire life. Okay, so these data are available in the literature. Okay, and also from the equipment handbook. And for the repair cost, tire repair, you can just add 15% to the tire replacement cost. Okay, so these are just some basic guidelines which you can follow. Okay, the continuation of the same question, how to find the salvage value. Okay, I told you in the beginning itself, salvage is not easy to estimate. Okay, because it is uncertain to predict. Okay, okay, there is a lot of uncertainty with the salvage value and the useful life of the machine. But anyway, there are some guidelines. Say guidelines provided by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Schedule 2 to Companies Act 2013. You can refer. Okay, so there are some guidelines given how to assume the residual value of the machine. Okay, so the residual value is not supposed to be more than 5% of the original cost of the asset. Okay, that is a guideline, but you can deviate from the guideline provided you provide proper justification for that. Okay, so these are some guidelines available. You can patiently go through these guidelines which are available online. Okay, then another question by another learner, how to decide the shifting charges or carrying charges. Okay, he has posted the question with respect to material. I assume he might be asking with respect to equipment, because this course is entirely about the equipment. Okay, so about the equipment shifting charges. See, basically, as the learner has raised the query, it is highly variable. Okay, the cost is highly variable according to the state. Okay, in different states, the fuel cost is varying. Okay, even the highway permit cost, duties, everything will vary. Okay, so it is going to be variable. So I cannot give you any formula, or I cannot generalize how to estimate this cost. But basically, when you procure the equipment, the initial cost of the equipment will include all the charges, the mobilization charge of the equipment and the assembly. It will include all the charges to get the equipment ready for the operation at the project site. Okay, but later when you're going to shift your equipment from one project site to another project site, that has to be considered separately under the operating cost. Okay, so it is preferable that you have to the estimator has to break down this carrying charges into 3 different categories. Okay, equipment transportation, equipment assembly and disassembly, and staff relocation. Okay, so you break it into 3 different categories and consider all the costs, including the highway permits and duties, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so I cannot generalize any equation and give it to you. Okay, so this you have to estimate. Okay, and it will vary from state to state. Okay. Then another learner has asked a query: what is the best book which can cover almost the entire syllabus? Okay, I have already listed provided you a complete list of books. Okay, in the reference. But anyway, for construction equipment economics, you can refer the textbook by Gransberg. Okay, and for the construction technology and methods, you can refer the textbook by Purify. Okay. There are other added books also which are very good. You are free to refer, but I suggest that at least you refer these 2 books for the preparation of this course. Okay. Fine. Then the next question is, as we can find out the depreciation of the equipment by different depreciation methods, how should we find the book value of the equipment? Okay. So book value is basically the net value of any asset. Okay, whatever your any balance sheet or accounting book. Okay, the net value of the asset, how we are going to record is your book value. Okay, say for example, I need to find the book value at the end of the first year of the machine. Okay, so it will be equal to your initial cost of the machine minus the depreciation which is accumulated in that particular first year. That will give you the book value at the end of the first year. Similarly, book value at the end of second year is nothing but book value at the beginning of the second year minus the depreciation accumulated in the second year. Okay, so this is how we are supposed to estimate the book value. Okay, I can just show you the example which I have already posted in the video also. Okay, so here we can clearly see how the book value is estimated. Say for the first year, at the beginning of the year, you can see the book value is 76 lakhs. Okay, how did we derive this? Your initial cost of the machine is 82 lakh, tire cost is 6 lakh. So 82 lakh minus 6 lakhs gives you 76 lakhs. That is the book value at the beginning of the year. Now you calculate the depreciation. Okay, here I have adopted double declining balance method, calculate the depreciation for that particular year. Then subtract the depreciation from the book value at the beginning of the year. You will get the book value at the end of the year. Okay, so book value at the end of first year is same as book value at the beginning of your second year, obviously. Okay, the same way you calculate. Okay, book value at the end of second year is nothing but book value at the beginning of year 59 lakh 11,000 minus the depreciation 13 lakh 13,000. That gives you the book value at the end of the second. So this is how you have to keep on calculating the book value for every year of the machine. Okay. Now coming to the last question which was posted in the portal. Okay, it's really interesting question which we mostly get from the students every year. Okay, so in the problem of minimum cost method, why do we stop at 12 years? Okay, so basically this graph I have already posted in the equipment replacement analysis lecture. Okay, you can go to this graph. Okay, so you can see that your operating cost of any machine will keep increasing with the age of the machine. You know the reason already. With increase in wear and tear, obviously your operating cost will increase. Your ownership cost component will keep decreasing with the life of the machine. Obviously, as a it is a factor of your function of your depreciation of your machine. Okay, your depreciation value. Okay, you can see that your depreciation value is keeping on reducing with the age of machine because it is a function of your book value. Okay, so the ownership cost is reducing with time and your operating cost is increasing with the age. Now we'll add both. The total curve, you can see that it keeps decreasing reaches the minimum value at a particular point, then again it starts increasing. Okay, why it starts increasing again? Because of the significant increase in the repair and the breakdown of the machines. Okay, with the age of the machine, the operating cost will increase. Okay, so beyond this minimum point, I can see that it is significantly increasing. Okay, so this is the reason. Okay, so now let us come to the actual problem where you have posted the doubt. Okay, so this is actually minimum cost method. Okay, so in this you can see that your operating and maintenance cost is increasing by 80,000 every year. Okay, your book value is reducing with time. Okay, your depreciation is also reducing with time. Okay, and your annual cost, the total cost is nothing but your operating cost plus your depreciation. That is the ownership cost component. Okay, so this is your total cost. Okay, for every year we are calculating, and you're dividing it by the number of years, so that you will get your average annual cost for every year. Okay, now you are going to find the economic life to find the optimum replacement time. What is the economic life? That is a period at which the average annual cost associated with the machine is minimum. You can see this point only I'm trying to find. Okay, so you can see that your cost keeps reducing and it has reached the minimum value at the age of 8 years. That means this is my economic life. This is the optimum replacement time for my machine. Okay, beyond this, if I try to hold my machine with me, I can see that my cost is going to increase. Why it is increasing? Maybe because very old machine, because of frequent breakdown and repair, increasing operating cost. Okay, so in this problem, why I continue till 12 years? I just wanted to know till where I will get the particular trend, the parabolic trend. Okay, the answer I'm getting at age 8 itself, but just I wanted to confirm that this should be the minimum. That is why I continued for some more years beyond 8. Till 12 years I have continued. It is not there is no hard and fast rule that you have to go till 12 years. Okay, you have to make sure that this will be the age at which the cost will be minimum. Till that you're supposed to do your calculations or the iteration. Okay. Okay, so with this, I have come to the end of the questions which are posted in the portal. In the Google link, there was one question posted related to the crane. Okay, so that I will address in the session 2, because the lecture on crane will be covered in the last 4 weeks. Okay, the lifting equipment will be introduced to you in the last 4 weeks. So I will address that query in the session. Okay, so most of the other questions, I hope that I have already answered. Okay, so now let us see any new question is posted in the YouTube. Is there any question posted? No. Okay. So, so since the question, no more new question is posted, so I think I can end the session. If you have any new question, you are free to post it in the NPTEL portal, okay, or the Google link which will be circulated to you. Okay, since there is no further question, let me end this session. Thank you all for attending the session. Thank you.